Hi everyone, it's Pastor Matt. As we're approaching Christmas in these devotional videos, we're taking a little time each week to look at Jesus, our shepherd, and to do so from the famous shepherd's psalm, Psalm 23. And so last week we looked at Psalm 23 verse 1 that says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." And we acknowledge that the psalmist says the Lord isn't just a shepherd. The Lord isn't even just the shepherd. He says he's my shepherd. I have a relationship with the shepherd. And because of that, I have no want. Then in verse 2 of that psalm, the psalmist says, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters." Now, when we hear about green pastures and still waters, we think of what a serene setting that describes. It sounds beautiful, like we may just want to lay down and enjoy that kind of pasture and water. Or if we fish at all, maybe we think, boy, it sure would be nice to be in a boat with a line in the water in that kind of setting. It sounds beautiful. But the point in Psalm 23 verse 2 isn't the beauty of that green pasture and those still waters. We're to look at this from the perspective of sheep. Remember, this is a shepherd's psalm, and we're the sheep. Well, what are green pastures and still waters to a sheep? They're not about beauty. They're about provision. They are a buffet table for a sheep. They need to eat those green pastures and drink from those still waters. They're a picture of God's ultimate provision for us. And the provision that God makes is done at great cost to Him. We see that here with the shepherd. The provision the shepherd makes is done at great cost. Green pastures didn't just happen in Palestine when David was writing this. The shepherd often had to move their sheep frequently from one pasture to another in order to make sure that the sheep had green pastures to eat from. They'd go from the lowlands to the highlands, to another pasture in the highlands, back to the lowlands. And the shepherds often had to participate in some form of irrigation and management of those different areas in order to make sure those pastures were green. The still waters required work as well. Palestine is not a land of 10,000 lakes like Minnesota is. Most of the water is moving, it's streams, it's rivers. And so in order to provide still waters for the sheep, the shepherd would often have to do the work in order to put rocks into a stream or a creek in order to dam it up so that the water would pool and the sheep could come and drink from that still water. Sheep are not smart enough to drink from moving water. When they go down into the moving water, they'll often go far enough down into the moving water that they will get swept away and drown. And so it's vital for the sheep that they have still waters to drink from. And the shepherd goes through a lot of effort in order to take a moving body of water and dam it up and create a still water that they can drink from those pools. And of course, the message of Christmas is that Jesus, our great shepherd, has come and He has given Himself in what is the ultimate sacrifice so that we might have all of our needs met. We might have the full buffet, green pastures and still waters of relationship with Him, that He might provide for every real need that we have and do so for all of eternity. Like the shepherd who does it at great cost for the sake of his sheep, Jesus has done that at ultimate cost for us, giving His life so that we might live anew with Him. And so as we approach Christmas, we remember the sacrifice that the shepherd makes so that the sheep can have that ultimate provision, green pastures and still waters. And we remember the sacrifice that our shepherd has made so that we might have the ultimate provision of new life with Him.